a production of the South Carolina Educational Television Network.
This 1950 Plymouth belonged to a man named Johnny Mance. On Labor Day in 1950, Johnny and this car were part of an event that was to bring new fame and fortune to a small farming town in northeastern South Carolina. We'll have this and more about the coastal plain today on South Carolina Geography.
South Carolina, a land of contrast, regions that differ dramatically. People living, working, playing, make an exciting geography. South Carolina Geography. South Carolina Geography.
Hi, I'm Michael Burgess.
And I'm John Gaughan. The major landform region in the United States in which most people live is called the coastal plain. The coastal plain is low in elevation and in general consists of a gently sloping surface toward the ocean. The land is favorable for farming and for supporting large populations.
A number of rivers run parallel courses across the coastal plain to the coast where they form deltas. The coastal plain of the United States includes southern New Jersey, the state of Delaware, this portion of Maryland, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, all of the state of Florida, the southern portion of Alabama, most of the state of Mississippi, this portion of Tennessee and Missouri, all of the state of Louisiana, this portion of Arkansas, and the southeastern portion of Texas, along with the southeastern tip of Oklahoma.
In South Carolina, the coastal plain ranges variously between 120 and 150 miles wide. It includes almost two-thirds of the state, making it South Carolina's largest landform region.
Counties that are generally identified with the coastal plain are Horry, Marion, Dillon, Marlboro, Georgetown, Williamsburg, Florence, Darlington, Berkeley, Clarendon, Sumter, Lee, Charleston, Dorchester, Orangeburg, Calhoun, Colleton, Bamberg, Barnwell, Allendale, Hampton, Jasper, and Beaufort counties.
The coastal plain is a heavy agricultural region of the state that has a variety of weather conditions. In the last section, I told you that air which is warmer than the atmosphere around it rises like a hot air balloon, and air which is colder than the atmosphere around it sinks like fog out of a freezer. When this occurs rapidly in the atmosphere, warm air rising and cold air sinking, thunderstorms develop which sometimes produce extremely heavy rains and hail. To the farmers of the coastal plain, weather plays an extremely important role in their lives. Hail can damage fields and crops in just minutes by beating them down. Heavy rains can wash away seeds and stunt growth, or worse, cause erosion which washes away the fertile topsoils. But possibly the most damaging type of weather to the farmers is drought. In the coastal plain, during a typical year, 48 inches of rain falls. That's 4 feet, more than enough for a good crop. But sometimes the rains don't come when they are needed. Springtime rains are very important to the germination and vegetative periods of plant growth. One year which was particularly dry was 1986, when only 10 inches of rain fell during the growing season. This compares with the driest regions of the world, which typically see about 10 inches of rain each year.
The town of Darlington, located in Darlington County, is well known to people all over the country who follow stock car racing.
Darlington International Raceway is the granddaddy of NASCAR super speedways. NASCAR, by the way, stands for National Association for Stock Car Auto Racing. This mile and 3/8 raceway is located just west of Darlington, right in the heart of South Carolina's tobacco land. It was started in 1949 by a group of local businessmen. Although several races are run here each year, the two prominent ones are the Trans-South 500 in March and the Southern 500 on Labor Day weekend. The stands seat 50,000 fans, and approximately 30,000 can squeeze into the infield. Stock car racing has been good for the economy of Darlington County.
The elevation of the coastal plain ranges from sea level to 400 feet above sea level as you approach the sandhills. Its topography is flat and gently rolling. Some of those rolling hills can be found along Interstate 26 between Columbia and Orangeburg.
On the road again. Just can't wait to get on the road again.
On I-26 in Calhoun and Orangeburg counties, because of these hills, it's sometimes difficult to differentiate between the coastal plain, the sandhills, and the Piedmont.
Going places that I've never been.
The coastal plain can be divided into two parts, the intercoastal plain and the outer coastal plain. The outer coastal plain is a featureless plain because of its flatness. Walterboro in the outer coastal plain is 50 feet above sea level. Holly Hill is about 100 feet above sea level. The coastal plain gently rises to an elevation of 200 feet at Orangeburg.
What we have are terraces that are marine in origin. That means they were formed by the ocean, the Atlantic Ocean in this instance. One of these terraces is called the Orangeburg Escarpment. An escarpment is a steep slope that separates two or more gently sloping surfaces.
The Orangeburg Escarpment is a terrace that marked a temporary shoreline some 20 to 80 million years ago, as the ocean gradually retreated to its present-day position.
Once you get a few miles south of Orangeburg, the coastal plain becomes much flatter and stays that way pretty much all the way to Charleston. At this point, you're mainly looking at flat land and pine trees.
The northern portion of the coastal plain is known also as the Pee Dee. It's drained by the Pee Dee River system, which is named for the Indian tribe that inhabited this area. In addition, the Pee Dee region encompasses a small part of the Sandhills. Chesterfield, Marlboro, Dillon, Marion, Horry, Darlington, Lee, Sumter, Clarendon, Williamsburg, Georgetown, and Florence counties are generally considered to be in the Pee Dee. Florence is the region's hub city, located here in Florence County.
Florence was named for the daughter of General William Harley, who constructed the city's first railroad line in 1853. It soon became a major railroad junction, then grew into a trading center, and first thrived on cotton, then tobacco, then on industrial growth. Today, Florence is a retail and wholesale distribution center for manufacturing plants in the city and for agricultural products from the surrounding area. Major medical centers cater to people from 9 counties in the region. Francis Marion College is located here, and Florence Darlington Technical College is nearby.
Although crops such as cotton and soybeans are grown in the Pee Dee, the agricultural economy of this region is based primarily on tobacco. And in the late summer, you'll always find a lot of tobacco activity in Pee Dee towns such as Mullins in Marion County.
This is Dixon's Warehouse in Mullins, South Carolina in Marion County. Today, a tobacco auction is taking place. Tobacco is South Carolina's #1 cash crop. It was introduced to the Pee Dee in the late 1880s, and by the 1920s, it was well on its way to becoming a major crop of the state. Today, the Pee Dee produces about 90% of South Carolina's total tobacco production. Square curing barns, such as this one, made of wood with a shed roof on the side, have traditionally been characteristic features of the Pee Dee landscape. Tobacco would be dried in these barns and would remain there until it had achieved the right color. Today, metal bulk barns, which hold more tobacco, are rapidly replacing the old wooden barns.
Distinctive landform features of the coastal plain are the Carolina bays. Perhaps 500,000 of the strangely regular features occur in the coastal plain from Maryland to Florida. They are called bays because of the bay trees that characterize the vegetation found on their edges. They are not to be confused with bays that are inlets from the sea. These Carolina bays are oval-shaped depressions that are easily identified on a topographic map because of their distinctive shapes. If you want to visit a Carolina bay, you might try Woods Bay State Park, here where Clarendon, Sumter, and Florence counties meet.
Carolina bays can contain several different communities within a few yards of each other, such as marshes, swamps, savannas, and sandhills. Carolina bays often look like isolated swamps. For a long time, bays were uncultivated and bypassed by settlement, but their rich organic soils have enticed farmers to drain many of the bays and convert them to agriculture. Woods Bay covers 1,541 acres and is one of the few Carolina bays that is filled with water all year long.
Bays range in size from 4 or 5 acres to the thousands of acres that make up Big Swamp in Manchester State Forest in Sumter County. All of the bay's axes parallel each other. Here in South Carolina, they are oriented in a northeast-southwest direction.
The origin of these bays is unknown. One theory states that they were formed by a huge meteor that broke into hundreds of pieces just before striking the Earth. But a fully accepted explanation of Carolina bays has not yet come along.
It's a 50-minute man who goes wherever he can. Now in the time.
Hey gang, this is Steve, your 50-minute guy. Well, today I'm going to be doing something that I've never done before. Have you ever ridden a train? That's right, a train. Well, me neither. But today, I'm going to get my chance. Now, according to my handy-dandy railroad timetable, we should be leaving Yamasee, South Carolina at 9:06 a.m. and arrive in Charleston, South Carolina at 9:55 a.m. Now, let's see. Naught plus naught equal naught. That's 49 minutes, which is close enough for the old 50-minute guy. Well, here it is. I guess I'll see you guys later.
One day the train was passing and I caught it coming by. Look this old world over.
Boy, we sure didn't stay in Yamasee long. Now we're on our way to Charleston. You know, you get a whole different perspective of the landscape on a train than you do on the highway.
Smoke along the track. Bye-bye so long. There's something down the track. It's calling me. Bye-bye so long.
Well, so far on our journey, we've crossed the Ashepoo, the Combahee, and the Ashley rivers, and we've seen all sorts of different types of landscape. Marshlands, swamplands, forests, and we've also run parallel to Highway 17 and went under I-26. And now we're just about here in Charleston, so the old 50-minute man has to get off the train. Well, we made it here safe and sound. Well, I've had a lot of fun riding with you guys across the landscape of the coastal plain today. And remember, this trip took 49 minutes, which is about the amount of time that you'll spend in this class. So until next time, ciao, babe.
Lakes Marion and Moultrie in the coastal plain are an integral part of Santee Cooper. Santee Cooper's major purpose is to provide reliable and economic electric power as well as other appropriate services and resources such as recreation, which benefit the people of South Carolina. The Jeffries plant at Panopolis in Berkeley County includes the original Santee Cooper power plant.
There's a lot of good fishing here at Lake Moultrie. Santee Cooper is well known for its striped bass. But while fishing and other forms of recreation can be found here, the major function at Santee Cooper is to provide reliable and economic electric power. This is the Jeffries Hydroelectric Generating Station at Panopolis in Berkeley County. Hydroelectricity is produced here by using water as its source of power. In order to provide water to operate this plant, the Santee River was dammed, and its waters were diverted into the Cooper River. Over the years, this caused a problem of too much silt being deposited into Charleston Harbor. So recently, a rediversion canal was built that now reroutes the Santee along its original course. This hasn't affected Santee Cooper's electricity production, though, because today, steam and nuclear power produce most of its electricity. Hydroelectricity accounts for less than 5% of its total generation.
There are quite a number of festivals that take place in the coastal plain, including the Hampton County Watermelon Festival and the Lee County Cotton Picking Festival. The Hampton County Watermelon Festival, held each June in Hampton and Varnville, is one of the oldest festivals in the state.
We would like to welcome everyone to the 45th annual Hampton County Watermelon Festival. Leading our parade this year is Sergeant Elliott, South Carolina Highway Patrol.
The Hampton County
County Watermelon Festival has been cited as one of the top 20 festivals in the Southeast. It's also one of the oldest festivals in the state. Designed to promote Hampton County's leading summer crop, it also serves to boost the county as a great place to live and do business. Politicians enjoy the exposure that they get here. Children enjoy the watermelon eating and seed spitting contests. Watermelons come in all different sizes and varieties. This is a Mirage watermelon, which is a cross between a Jubilee and a Crimson Sweet. I can't wait to take it home and enjoy it. I'm Rosa Otero Creech, reporting from Hampton.
Cotton is still an important factor in Lee County's economy, and each October they celebrate the Cotton Picking Festival in Bishopville.
Cotton is still king in Lee County, and each year on the second weekend in October in Bishopville, people celebrate the Lee County Cotton Picking Festival as a salute to the #1 crop in the county.
Double pass through the leader, straight out. Swing that girl around and promenade. Promenade, going around that ring. Said, listen real close, you'll probably this thing on. Head sway through and get that forward out. Around that corner, girl, you do something. Swing through the night, let them boys run to the right. Couple circulates your Ferris wheel. Double pass through the leader, straight out. Swing that girl around and promenade.
I'm Rosa Otero Creech, reporting from the Lee County Cotton Picking Festival in Bishopville.
South Carolina contains many square miles of swampland. A swamp is land that supports vegetation and is generally covered with water most of the time. On a map, this symbol indicates a swamp. Here we have a map of Marion County. Notice how much of it is covered with swampland. You can get a good view of a swamp crossing into Marion County on Highway 378 just as you leave Horry County.
This is where Highway 378 crosses the Little Petey River. It's also the county line between Marion and Horry counties. Marion County was named for Francis Marion, Revolutionary war leader from South Carolina, who was known as the Swamp Fox. Marion knew his way around the swamps of this part of the state and could easily befuddle the British troops when they were trying to locate him. His headquarters was Snow Island, on the east side of the Great Petey River at the southern tip of present-day Florence County.
The coastal plain is South Carolina's largest landform region, so obviously there's a lot more to it than what we've been able to show you today. Why don't you see what else you can find out about the coastal plain, and we'll see you next time with the Coastal Zone on South Carolina Geography.